It's time now to tackle the headline, and we're taking a look across the competition at the toughest trade and contract calls to come. Now, Scott and Josh, these are on-field calls. They might be what this player means to your on-field setup. They might be emotional calls at this time of year. We all know every single club has that player that you would just dread seeing in another team's colours. Now, our colleague John Ralph is reporting tonight that Adam Treloar could have a one-year deal on the table if he gets through the VFL final series. But it's hard to argue against Adam being not in this category of the tough decisions that the Bulldogs are going to have to make in the coming weeks.
I like that they've made him play for it, and he's done that of his own volition. I think he could have gone, I'll set this out. This season was a waste. I'll be fit. I'll be fine. I like that the Bulldogs are looking at only a one-year deal. I don't think he's going to get a deal anywhere else, Barnesy.
Yeah, I think he provides good midfield depth, but you have to be so sure he's going to be fit and playing. I think other clubs would look at him if he's on the market, but it's going to be a cheap deal. He's looking at probably one of the biggest downgrades in cash we've seen. He was in our rich list not long ago. He was about $1 million. That was still $300,000 or so being paid by Collingwood. That deal is over now. He's going to go down to almost minimum chips, you would think, for a one-year deal.
I think you do it because the strength of the Dogs, even though things didn't go right, is their midfield depth. Treloar can't hurt him if he's fit.
Yeah, he's a great club person, still has players living in his house. Riley Sanders was living there not so long ago, so he brings a lot to that side of things, and I think it's a low-risk, sort of high-yield move. Now,
to look at Collingwood, they'll obviously be hoping that there's still well and truly a few weeks left in their campaign before they have to think about this kind of thing. But, I mean, Jamie Elliott is just a much-loved figure there, isn't he? He's just so treasured by the Collingwood faithful. And, I mean, he owes the club nothing, as you've said, Scotty, but I think they'd hate to see him in Gold Coast colours, wouldn't they? The guava, does it work for him?
I don't know.
Doesn't suit him, does it?
Does it suit anyone?
Hardball?
I don't know. That's a whole other argument.
Is it a hardball thing, or is it all yours? You've been so good to us.
Yeah.
Do you want to go? You tell us why, and he'll probably say, I need to change the scenery to finish my career. Like, my form's still as good as ever. But the whole he's leaving. So would Collingwood be a bit reticent to go, oh, do you want a little bit more money? You know, like, does Collingwood play the, you owe us nothing, off you go? Or do they go, hang on, we might fight for this?
I think of all those sort of older guys that Collingwood's been toing and froing about they're keeping or not, he is the one they have to pay overs to keep, because if you took him out of that side right now, they're in trouble. It's no coincidence his poor form at the back end of the year coincided with Collingwood's poor form, and I don't think they win the flag this year unless he fires. The other forwards aren't really getting it done right now, so they have to keep him because they want to win the flag next year. So it makes sense to me that if you have to give him an extra $200,000, you probably have to do it with Jamie Elliott.
Now, you never like to see a scenario where a club captain is involved. Of course, we're seeing Oscar Allen depart at West Coast. But what of Jack Steele at St Kilda? I mean, he's clearly not at his best in that midfield. We've got a significant influx of players happening at Moorabbin. That's an understatement to say the least. But what are we doing about Jack?
Well, this is, you build up again, player harmony. They love him. He's crucial to the locker room. And then you've got Ross and the list guys, because Ross, remember, even early days, he wasn't sure about Jack in Ross' way, and I think he now loves him, loves the way he plays. But, you know, making him the sub and looking at little messages were almost like preparing him for, and Saints fans, that if we pull the bullet on him, we're prepared to do it. If a club comes to us, I think that's what they're waiting for. If an opposition club bowls up a first-round pick or a juicy deal, they can go, yep, no worries. But they've got to understand, like bringing TDK in, if Rowan Marshall goes, there's a bit of harmony things that I think they have to be across here.
Absolutely. To the other one. Is it, I mean, a West Coast, someone like that, do you think?
Yeah, that's the kind of club that we're looking for. He's not the kind of player that puts you over the top. Like, we know Hawthorn's scouting around for an A-grade midfielder. That's not Jack Steele. It's going to be that kind of guy. So it's probably a rebuilding team that wants the leadership in there. And then, as you said, Scotty, you're paying all these people millions and millions of dollars, and then you're probably moving him out because you don't really want to pay him. What about the millions you spend on everyone else? So that has to rip at the fabric of the locker room.
Now, one of the toughest calls, I think, surrounds, of course, Port Adelaide's superstar, Zak Butters. Now, we know the power of moving into their new era under Josh Carr, looking for a new footy boss and everything that comes with that. Do you rip the Band-Aid off? I know he has said he is staying and he's happy to see this through, but do you almost just go and have the clean start?
Well, this is a trade week special, isn't it, Bargy? This is a second last day of trade week. trade radio's been banging on for 2 weeks, and suddenly a club might go to Port, because I think Zak is a man of his word, I'm told, and he has said, I am going to see this contract out, and then he's going. He hasn't made any secret about that. Port know that. But if Port went to him and go, one of these clubs like the Bulldogs or Arsenal, one of the ones he wants to go to, have come to us with this amazing offer, would you consider going now? It would be up to Port to push him, not push him out, but just to go, look, you either stay, we want you to stay with Josh Carr for his first year. You're our vice captain, you're a superstar. But right now we could get 3 first-round picks. We're going to do this. That's the scenario.
It has to be something like that, but nobody really has that capital to do it. Like Essendon has 2 picks in the top 10, but Zak's probably saying, "Oh, I'm not going to Tullamarine."
Yeah.
If Carlton can flip Charlie Curnow, who you might talk about in a second, you get a haul for him. Do you go to Port Adelaide? If we get this, can we get that?
There it is.
That's probably the kind of thing you're looking at.
That's
but
the deal.
Those kind of deals are pretty rare. That's the only way I think it could happen. And then Zak, who we know wants to be sort of on the western side of town, does he want to play at Icon Park? That's another.
That's close.
It is.
Sort of.
Well, sadly, that is it for time for us. So we won't get to Charlie Curnow. We might save him for next week, of course.
Plenty of time to talk about
Clayton
Charlie.
Oliver. We can rattle the names off until the cows come home. But that's it from us on Tackle the Headline. We'll see you next time.